When I say Pro Football Focus, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
Analytics, Florio. I don't know. It's like analytics, Mina Kimes, a joke, a mockery. I don't know. All those things.
Let me tell you why you're wrong. Let me tell you why I love Pro Football Focus, and it's Chris Collinsworth's invention, and NBC leans into it, and everybody's hot. J.J. Watt's gone off on it. Chris Long's gone off on it. Everybody's hot with Pro Football Focus. What other tool of accountability does the media have and do fans have with football players right now? We have no other tool to hold them accountable. No other tool to put pressure on them to play at a high level all the time. That grade, whether it's right or wrong, but no one wants to be listed on Sunday Night Football as the 95th best defensive tackle according to PFF grades out of 102 defensive tackles. No one wants to be listed as the 40th best tight end or blah, blah, blah. It's the only thing holding these players accountable. I love Pro Football Focus. I know it's not perfect, but when I see these guys get hyperbolic because someone is putting a grade on them and they disagree with their grade. Hey, look, was it junior year or senior year, but I can't remember. 1988. The coaches had so little respect for me or respect for my ability to work hard every day that my grades after games, they would always, if I graded out at 82%, they'd give me a grade of 75%. If I graded out at 75, they'd give me a grade of 69. If I would come in having played like I gave up nothing, and my grade would be 73, and I was irate about it. As an adult, I was like, oh, I get why they did that, because if they had given me my real grade, I would have gotten full of myself and more lazy. And they were already dealing with a laziness issue with me, and so they were putting pressure on me. That's what Pro Football Focus does. It's the only thing that holds these guaranteed contracted multi-millionaire football players. And I know not all the contract is guaranteed, but enough of it is that they feel like it's guaranteed. I love PFF.
Yeah, I don't know. Why is that needed? These guys are one percenters. They made it. I think it's watered down the previous generation of player. You and I had Street and Smith magazine. That's all we had. We got to be in there if we were good enough, and it was a national magazine. It was high school football. We got to watch Street and Smith, and like, oh, he's the next guy. Jason Whitlock's coming up. He's going to Ball State. It talked about that. That was all we had. We didn't have internet. We didn't have none of that stuff. Nowadays, we look at this stuff, and we're comparing Caleb Williams with Troy Aikman as if our eyes don't work. And you know what they use? PFF. And now there are people out here saying Caleb Williams is the best over Troy Aikman because Troy Aikman critiqued his inaccuracies the other day. Come on, man. That's the problem I have with PFF. We've watered down the generational talents that we watched and my eyes saw, and I know the position, and I'm sitting there like, are you kidding me? This is John Madden video game stuff. This is the analytics that have ruined the game to me. That's why I'm in disagreement of this. This is the Mina Kimes stuff. Like, come on. Get on the board and show me cover 2, Mina. She won't. She can't. She'll never will do it because they won't put her in harm's way because she's ignorant, and ignorance is life-threatening, just as PFF is. To me, I think it's ruined we live in a YouTube generation. These young generational kids now see the games live, but then they go back and watch the Troy Aikmans and the Dan Marinos on only YouTube clips. And then they're going to say, oh, he wasn't that good. He had no idea that the rules were different, that everything has been totally addressed for offense, and yet offense is the worst we've ever seen it. I got a problem with PFF for that reason alone, and I think we've made this thing so analytical. Kick the dang extra point, Jason. Kick the field goal. Take the points. We've become so analytical now that it's ridiculous, and it's same thing with these rankings. I don't know. They're already one percenters. I don't know why we think we need to put them in some specific role or place. Wait till the top 50 come out of all time and they have some guy like Caleb Williams ranked over Troy Aikman. Then you're going to see me go viral because this is ridiculous.
I want to play Cris Collinsworth responding to his critics or the critics of PFF. Let's play SOT number 10.
Sort of ironic that we've had other coaches that have complained much louder to me about this, right? And those guys would call me and I would say, Coach, come on in, meet my guys, look at our system, pick it apart, do anything you want. I just take a look at the whole thing. Of those coaches, one of them asked for and did buy into our company. One of them asked to buy into the company and said he couldn't afford it. And another one endorsed cutting a player based on PFF grades with the team that he was with. So a lot of people have their own opinions. You know, we grade things, we evaluate things. You know, Bijan Robinson has a couple of fumbles and, you know, that's hurt his grade, and he's arguably been the best back in all of football this year. So there's always a complaint, but, you know, we've spent literally tens of millions of dollars trying to perfect this system. Every NFL team, every college team, every Canadian Football League team has it. We're building the same thing for soccer right now around the world. Everybody uses it. Every announcer almost, other than a couple, you know, JJ, come on over. We'll open the doors. We'll give you anything you want for your announcing. But yeah, I think it's easy to criticize if you haven't seen how the potato chips are made, but open invitation to all those guys, anybody that wants to come in and take a look, debate, argue, sit down, pound the table. We've had a lot of people do it in the past, and we'll have a lot of people that'll do it in the future, but we invite everybody.
So a big thank you from Cris Collinsworth.
JB, I think Cris Collinsworth nails it here, man. People are huffing and puffing because they don't want to be held accountable, and we need some tool to hold these guys accountable.
Why?
So that they're forced to compete. So they don't lay down like Chris Jones on the goal line and watch Trevor Lawrence get up off the ground and run for a touchdown. We need something that you know puts a little pressure on the players.
That's a organizational issue. If I can, that's a salary cap issue. That's an NFL issue. That's a don't pay me, fine me issue. How about we fine them? That'll fix the problem. I don't know if I need a stat line to tell me
NFL
to play hard.
Players Association wouldn't allow you to fine them.
See, that's the problem. The organization should have, because at the end of the day, we're going to use analytics to tell me if
It's not analytics.
What is it? The grading system. Who's the grader?
Former coaches are involved with PFF and grade the film. Are they perfect? No. Are they closer to the truth than just spitballing it? Yes, I think they are.
But I need to know who's grading them. That's huge. See, we got Condoleezza Rice tells me that Alabama should be in the college football playoff. It's a mockery. I got to hear these people that have no clue on the playoff.
Do you think that's who's grading the players at PFF?
No, but why is it such a secret? Because I did a little deep dive. You can't find the graders, though. If it's a secret, why these guys? That's the reason these guys are being more, calling people out more. Show us, Chris.
I'll tell you why it's a secret.
Is it Belichick? Is it
former coaches that are afraid that, hey, if they know that I'm doing it, I'll never be considered for another coaching job.
How do you sell that product then? Because I that's why the players are against it, and I am as well. I don't, as a former coach and player, how do you sell it if I don't know who's doing it? Because the college football playoff committee is a joke. There's out of the people on there, only one former player is selecting teams to go to the college football playoff. It's a fact. Go look it up. One player.
This isn't about the playoffs, though, JB.
No, but it's the same thing, though. If I don't know who's grading it, if Mina Kimes is grading JJ Watt's overall ranking, are you going to question it? Come on. Well, who is, though? You saying she ain't, but we don't know who is.
Former coaches. Wasn't it Gunther
But
Cunningham? There was a defensive coordinator. I know at one point he was working for PFF. He's got a lot of experience in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. I played for Gunther. I'm trying to figure out who is it and why is it such a secret, though? If they're not coaching no more, who cares? Why don't they come out and say it? If Dick Vermeil came out and said, I've been grading them, I respect it.
Let me tell you why. Let me give you another real reason why, JB. The PFF is growing and growing in importance and influence. Chris Collinsworth just showed you that. There's millions of dollars on the line. And PFF is going to help organizations determine who gets this contract or that contract. And if you think some of these players aren't desperate enough, they're damn near like rappers. And if you think they're not desperate enough to try to put hands on somebody for giving them a grade that they feel like they don't deserve and making it public, yes, they are. If they've made it up in their mind, hey, man, this is how I feed my family. And this guy gave me a C plus grade or a C minus grade or a 70 whatever grade, and I felt like I deserved an 82, and that's why I didn't get the contract I wanted from Jerry Jones or Bob Kraft or whomever. They're going to try to put hands on one of these old coaches or whoever's doing it, and they're keeping it a secret so that these guys can give an honest opinion, and it's going to get so important. Like, if everybody knew who was doing the grades, if you think some of these players and agents aren't willing, I got $100,000 for you if you take care of me this year. They're capable of doing that.
You know what we're doing? We're watering down the hires inside of each organization. If you want to really macro level break this down, why am I hiring a president of a university, Jason, at Ball State? Let's just use this in reference. I'm a president, I have a doctorate degree, correct? If I'm a president, I have to have a doctorate degree. I hire the athletic director who hires the head football coach, correct? That's how the pecking order usually goes.
Yes.
It's not that way, though. You know what happens? The president hires a search firm that's has no relation whatsoever with that campus, those kids, or the city itself. They hire a coach through an agent that they're cool with. The same thing goes in this PFF situation. Why am I hiring Jason Whitlock to be the GM of the Kansas City Chiefs if I'm using a guy on the outside's grading system to make sure I keep, cut, or draft somebody? Why are we hiring those people then? Hire the people that are going to do the job for your organization. Why are we depending on analytics? No, we're not. We're using outside sources to tell me who to cut or not.
No, they're not. Listen, the Chiefs have their grades on their players, and PFF has its grades on the players.
Right.
And I'm sure Brett Veach and Andy Reid sometimes disagree with PFF, and I'm sure there's sometimes they're like, man, they nailed this guy.
Yeah, but you're not drafting based on PFF, is my point. And if you are, then you're doing a disservice. You shouldn't be hired then. That's my point. Like, why are we being paid then if I got to go on the outside? Then I should be hiring a PFF guy for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And they might get some of the guys from PFF may end up getting those jobs.
32 of these jobs, Jason. 32 of them. Like, you're telling me now I'm going to PFF outside. So then we don't need to have upper management and admin then. Like, I got to go PFF. Then PFF runs the show now. They're telling me they're the judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to football breakdown knowledge and basically personnel. Because they're great at personnel judgment out of college? No. Can't tell me that's true. These coaches, that if they are guys that are don't want to be seen, you just said Gunther Cunningham. What's Gunner, 80? He knows what's going on in college.
I'm saying a few years ago, yes, I don't think you lose it all. I don't think you forget everything you learned about football overnight. Yeah, I'm sure there's some qualified guys. I'm sure it's just like any business. There's some qualified guys and there's some unqualified guys. But overall, I think PFF does great work. And it's JB, this is like a big part of my brand and belief is like fans have no way of holding any of the athletes, any of the organizations accountable now. And we used to be able to. Showing up to games used to matter. Now with these TV contracts, Doesn't even matter if you show up to games. It doesn't matter.
Corporate. Those corporate America's taking over.
Yeah.
That's why a flag football game, the Pro Bowl, gets sold out still no matter what, because corporate buys the seats.
Yes.
So
and
it's not really
and in the media, the biggest stars in TV have the same representation, the exact same agents or agencies as the players. And so the people on mainstream TV are far less likely to say what they really think about a player's performance. And so PFF stands in the gap and takes care of it. When I was in Kansas City, anybody from Kansas City that's watching this show knows exactly what I'm going to say. I used to do a Chiefs season-ending grade, and it wasn't nearly as good as PFF. It was more entertaining. It was funnier, and because I would crack jokes, but I would grade every player on the Chiefs roster, and the players would be irate. Some would be happy, but the players would be irate and be threatening to kill me, or telling me I did a great job. Tony, I'm not saying this as a brag, but Tony Gonzalez at his Hall of Fame speech thanked me. It was like something that ran underneath the screen while he was giving his deal, where he had him put on there that he thanked me because I gave him a bad grade after his rookie season. I gave him a D+, and he said it changed his whole career. And made him like, oh, I'm going to show Whitlock and blah, blah. Ain't nobody ever going to say this about me again. It's that type of accountability that used to bring out the best in players, and there's none of that anymore, JB, and we need some of it. And so maybe that's why I'm so sympathetic to PFF, but my whole deal, and again, you need to hop on board. We need to be lockstep, you and me, in what we're doing. Is like the fans need a voice. Because at the end of the day, me and you, I used to play a little bit, you used to play a little bit, you used to coach, but now we're just sports fans. And somebody's got to represent us and our perspective. And PFF gives the fans a tool to understand the game and hold the players accountable. I'm telling you, JB, this is a good thing.
The fans are nobodies. And they should just shut the heck up and stay out of our lane. That's what they need to do. Because the bottom line is, this is what happens. These
JB,
players
you
aren't
know
invested.
who you are. You're a sports fan, JB.
Hey, Jason. These players are not even close. This is why PFF will end up failing, and you'll never hear from it again in 10 years. You know why?
Stop it, JB. Didn't you just hear the man? They're bringing it to soccer. They're bringing it to Canadian football.
And that's,
it's going everywhere.
You know why it's going to soccer? Because soccer is the most world-watched sport, and that's why. Because you know why? Because football, eventually, feminization and everything else that's happening, flag football and women coaching and all this stuff, it's going to end up falling on their face, and they'll never have football anymore. Here's the problem. The investment of these players are not what it was when you and I played. That's why PFF will not sustain itself. Because when the player's not invested, and I go recruit a kid who doesn't even know who the hell Eric Dickerson was at his own position, there's an investment issue. So if you're going to tell me that these grades matter to these people like Tony Gonzalez was with you, you're crazy. You're delusional. I'm just telling you, players don't care no more, Jason. They're betting on themselves to get a DraftKings check. They don't care no more about their grades.
Play
they can care less.
Number 9. Play SOT number 9. Hold on. No one cares, huh? And I know Chris Long's out of the league, but play SOT 9.
Get Mahomes quarterback 13 of 32 off my television screen. We're talking about legislation, what our kids shouldn't see at school, what they shouldn't be learning about. Like, should we have political ads on television? I want the PFF scores off the TV as bad as I want political ads off the television because, like, God forbid there's somebody watching the game who doesn't know who Patrick Mahomes is.
Right.
They're going to be badly misguided, brother. 13th best quarterback in the league. I mean, if I was not Nandi, and maybe he earned it this year, but I would sue. I'd be in Chris Collinsworth's backyard, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'd be at the window.
Right.
Like, what? You can't do that, dude.
You sure they don't care?
Chris Long does. He's not playing. My point is, Jason, these guys don't care. They got 200 million reasons why to go to Dubai in the offseason and why they don't look like we once used to look on the football field. Have you noticed the body types, Jason? Have you seen the wide receivers that used to look like Megatron now looking like Devontae Smith? Have you not noticed they could care less about your rankings, your Madden rankings, or anything else? We care. You, me, Chris Long, and the old school heads that you say, oh, man, you're crazy. These guys don't care is my point. And that's why PFF cannot sustain itself when the investment of the product on the football field doesn't care. There's no way you're going to sit here and tell me, how long is Chris Long, you and I going to be talking about this? 10 more years, maybe? 15, 20, okay, for some of these guys? The players don't care. It's only getting worse, Jason. You got guys getting 8 years in college. You think they care? They're getting a bag of money. They don't care. This PFF thing's going to be a joke and a mockery in about 6 years. Watch. Mark my words. I'm going to be. But what do I know, Jason? Just like I've been right the last 5 years about this other crap.
JB, I'm letting you go. You wore me out. Great job as always.
Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.